Nathi Mthethwa left in the hotel room, the mysterious 2-day booking plus a secret meeting that he didn't want his wife to know about. At first glance, the story of Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa's final days could be mistaken for routine diplomatic travel. But in the heart of Paris, at the luxurious Hyatt Regency Hotel, the narrative veers sharply into the extraordinary. When police returned his few personal belongings, a simple cap, a neatly folded coat, and a television remote control, to his wife, few could have guessed that these objects would ignite a storm of speculation. Why did the ambassador book the room 10 days in advance, only to delay his stay? What was the nature of the mysterious meeting he mentioned, a meeting no one could later verify? Each clue seems to open another door into the unknown, revealing the shadow of something bigger, something that might stretch from the corridors of power all the way to the quiet corners of that Parisian suite. These details emerge as investigators from both South Africa and France delve deeper into the events surrounding Mthethwa's fall from the 22nd floor of the hotel on the morning of September 30th. The cap, coat, and remote control were presented to his family during an update on the ongoing probe, items that French authorities collected from the scene. They represent the tangible remnants of his brief stay, a stay that began on September 29th after he altered his original plans. Mthethwa had initially reserved the room on September 15th for a weekend from September 27th to 28th, a 2-day period that he later shifted to that single Monday, the very day he arrived and was last seen alive. This change in booking has sparked curiosity, as it aligns precisely with the timeline of his disappearance, prompting questions about what prompted the adjustment and why he chose that specific hotel in the first place. Compounding the enigma is the secret meeting Mthethwa referenced before leaving his residence. His wife recalls him mentioning it that Monday afternoon, just before he headed out, supposedly to attend a cocktail function afterward. However, she has expressed certainty that no such meeting appeared in his diary, which she knew well. This discrepancy suggests the possibility of hidden intentions or undisclosed plans, as he departed the ambassador's residence around 3 p.m., only to check into the Hyatt Regency later that day. French authorities have confirmed through hotel records that he did indeed arrive and settle into his room on the 22nd floor, a high vantage point from which the tragic fall occurred. The room's secured window showed signs of being forced open with a pair of scissors found nearby, and detail that adds layers to the investigation, pointing toward deliberate actions in his final moments. As of today, the probe into Mthethwa's death continues to intensify, with a team of 5 experienced investigators from the South African Police Service arriving in Paris to collaborate with local officials. Led by Major General Mekashalale, the Deputy Provincial Commissioner for Crime Detection in the Western Cape, this group has been dispatched to ensure a thorough examination of all circumstances. The police ministry has emphasized that their goal is to support the French inquest, working side by side to analyze evidence and eliminate any lingering uncertainties.
I can confirm that following advice from the National Commission of the South African Police Service, General Fadima Simola, the Minister has agreed to deploy a team of investigators to France to collaborate and work closely with French authorities in investigating the death of Mr. Nathi Mthethwa. I can confirm that the team will be led by Major General Mekashalale, who is currently the head of detectives in the Western Cape province. He's got 40 years policing experience as well as 35 years in the detective services. We're also sending a representative from the Hawks, an investigator from the Hawks, a crime scene investigator, a forensic science expert, as well as a member from Interpol that will be also forming part of the team. We've got full faith and confidence in the investigation that is being led by the French authorities. We are purely conducting an investigation and working closely with the French authorities on the basis of completing the picture of the investigation. We are striving to eliminate any doubts and speculations surrounding the death of Mr. Nathi Mthethwa, as well as to get first-hand information for ourselves. Our main goal is to provide the necessary closure and answers to the families that that have a lot of questions in terms of the circumstances surrounding his death. So I can confirm that the team that is being led by Major General Maqashalala will leave South Africa on the 4th of October, which is Saturday. They will spend roughly a week with French authorities. They will return back into the country on the 10th of October. So they will spend roughly a week that side, where they will be analyzing and supporting the forensic investigation of the French authorities. We are working closely with French authorities. We will be collaborating with them, providing analysis as well as supporting the French authorities who have already begun with their investigation. I must indicate that the National Commissioner has already engaged with the French Embassy in South Africa. He's already engaged with his counterparts in France to inform them of our visit and the work that will be done by our investigators upon arrival. So tomorrow, on just before they leave on Saturday, we are expecting the team to meet with the National Commissioner. Upon arrival in France, they will then meet with the team that has been tasked with investigating the death of Mr. Nathi Mthethwa. So the focus really is to investigate the circumstances surrounding his death, is to eliminate doubts and the rumors and speculations that are out there, and to really conduct a thorough investigation to ensure that a thorough and transparent investigation is conducted to provide the necessary closure to families and to ensure that we provide the necessary answers to the Mthethwa family. You will know that the family has a lot of questions. So we have to play our role as the SAPS as well to ensure that a thorough and transparent investigation is conducted so that we can provide a full comprehensive report.
This joint effort reflects a commitment to transparency, especially given the diplomatic status of the deceased and the international implications of the case. French prosecutors, including Laure Becouau, have shared initial findings that include a message Mthethwa sent to his wife hours before the incident. In it, he conveyed an apology and an indication of his intent to end his life, a communication that arrived later that evening and heightened the distress for his family. Despite this, authorities maintain an open approach, ruling out no possibilities, including the chance of external involvement. The body was discovered the following morning outside the hotel, prompting an immediate response from emergency services and the start of forensic work. A post-mortem examination is currently underway at a government mortuary in Paris, with results anticipated by Sunday or early next week, which will help determine the exact cause and potentially shed light on any contributing factors. The family, gathered in Paris and supported by relatives like brother-in-law Sfiso Buthelezi, a former deputy finance minister, has been receiving direct briefings from French officials.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Indeed, it's a very difficult time for us as a family in Federal, but it's even more difficult for his wife, it was my sister, Philisiwe Mthethwa. It's a very difficult time indeed for her. It's always very difficult to deal with death in a family, but even more difficult to deal with death in these circumstances and in a foreign country. So that all makes the situation that we are facing a very, very difficult one. But about the developments, I don't know where you are, but let me just say briefly what has happened since the tragedy happened. We've had interaction with the police. They came to the ambassador's residence to brief Mrs. Mthethwa, and I attended that meeting about their interim findings, or perhaps let's say the progress in investigations. And that was 2 days ago, basically where they were saying at that stage that they've been to the hotel where this tragedy happened. They've been to the room that the ambassador said to have booked in, and they've watched the cameras. So the most important thing for them there was to try and see whether there was somebody else who might have been in that room. That means, was there somebody perhaps who might have gone into the room before the ambassador, or somebody who came after the ambassador? So they say what they saw there in the cameras. Definitely there was nobody who entered the room before or after the ambassador had entered the room. So that's a fact coming from the police. And obviously they gave us things that they got, which were two cell phones, ambassador's cell phones, his jacket, cap, and the remote. So they left those things. I must say that they've been quite professional in dealing with Mrs. Mthethwa. Remember, when this thing happened, she was all by herself in this house, and she needed to report to the police. And thanks God, Mrs. Mthethwa is very fluent in Africa. You see, South Africa coming out in French, so she was able to interact and tell them exactly what happened. So I think that helped. But she was all by herself. But the police came here, they fetched her, they went to the police station on the day of the tragedy. So we really appreciate that.
These updates have stressed the importance of patience while processes unfold, including the review of CCTV footage from the hotel, expected to provide crucial insights in the coming days. Sfiso Buthelezi has acted as a family spokesperson, relaying that the police visited the residence not only to discuss progress but also to return those personal items, the cap, coat, and remote control, which Mthethwa had with him during his stay. This handover occurred amid discussions about the booking details, confirming the original 2-day reservation and its postponement, information pieced together from hotel logs and phone records. Mthethwa's decision to book the hotel remains one of the most baffling aspects. Why would a high-ranking ambassador living in an official residence seek out a separate accommodation in the same city? The 2-day slot from September 27th to 28th suggests advanced planning, perhaps for a private retreat or an off-the-books encounter, but the shift to September 29th aligns suspiciously with his mention of that undisclosed meeting. Family members have pondered this aloud, noting there seemed no apparent reason for the hotel stay, especially since his schedule, as known to his wife, included no such commitments. This secret meeting, described casually as he left home, now looms as a potential key to understanding his mindset, possibly tied to professional pressures or personal matters that have yet to surface. Delving deeper into Mthethwa's background reveals a man whose career spanned decades of public service, marked by both achievements and controversies that may offer context to these final events. Born 58 years ago, he rose from humble beginnings in Durban's Clarwater Township, where he first engaged in activism during challenging times. His involvement with the African National Congress began early, propelling him through the party ranks to positions of significant influence. He served on the ANC's National Executive Committee and held key roles, including as a long-serving cabinet minister, notably in the police portfolio. As ambassador to France, he worked to strengthen bilateral ties, fostering diplomatic relations that benefited both nations. However, recent developments have cast shadows over his legacy. Just weeks before his death, Mthethwa's name surfaced in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, which examines allegations of corruption and interference within the police and criminal justice system. During testimony on September 19, KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi accused him of attempting to halt the prosecution of former crime intelligence head Richard Mdluli. Mkhwanazi described a meeting at Mthethwa's home in Waterkloof, where the then-minister allegedly insisted on stopping both the criminal case and a disciplinary action against Mdluli. This incident, according to the testimony, involved claims that Mkhwanazi had coerced another official into supporting the prosecution, an accusation he firmly denied, emphasizing that the decision came from experienced prosecutors. Mkhwanazi further detailed how Mthethwa, leveraging his position and experience, tried to influence him during his early days as acting National Police Commissioner. Fresh from specialized operations focused on pursuing criminals, Mkhwanazi found himself navigating what he perceived as improper directives, ultimately standing his ground and refusing to comply. This episode, labeled as a severe instance of political interference, echoes earlier implications at the Zondo Commission, where Mthethwa was linked to the improper prosecution of former KwaZulu-Natal Hawks boss Johan Bussen. These resurfaced allegations, coming so close to his death, have fueled speculation about whether they contributed to stresses that might explain his actions in Paris. Despite these controversies, tributes to Mthethwa highlight his dedication and contributions. President Cyril Ramaphosa has spoken of the deep grief felt across the nation, praising his unwavering patriotism and service.
President Ramaphosa offers his deep condolences to Ambassador Mthethwa's wife, Ms. Phylliswe Buthelezi, and the ambassador's extended family. The President extends his sympathies to the Ministry and Department of International Relations and Cooperation, and in particular officials in our embassy in Paris. The President's thoughts are also with the extensive network of partners and stakeholders, including the French Presidency and the Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs, with whom Ambassador Mthethwa had established a strong relationship since his diplomatic appointment in December 2023.
International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola has echoed this, calling him a true patriot who enhanced South Africa-France relations through his diplomatic efforts. The ANC has sent delegations to his family home in Gwambonambi, promising a send-off that honors his journey from township activist to national figure. Leaders like Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma have recalled his intelligence and upbringing, noting how he sought her advice before taking the ambassador post and later expressed gratitude for suggesting he bring his wife along. Others, such as Sbundebele, have remembered his role in growing the ANC's presence in northern KwaZulu-Natal, a region where the party faced dominance from rivals like the IFP. The family, in a joint statement with the Buthelezi relatives, has expressed appreciation for the outpouring of support from South Africans, which has provided comfort during this trying period. They have commended the cooperation between the South African government and French authorities, particularly in facilitating the repatriation process. Deputy Minister Alvin Botts from the Department of International Relations and Cooperation has visited the family, assuring them that a preliminary report on the death is due by Sunday, after which repatriation can proceed. This report will first be shared with the family before public release, respecting traditional customs that must be observed. Botts has urged restraint from speculation, emphasizing that full details will emerge once investigations conclude.
Well, like I've said, there has been many unworthy news reports that has been circulated, including stories about multiple cell phones being found everywhere. Unfortunately, those will be found to be short of the truth, and that's why we are saying, based on the information at my disposal, we, with the family, have agreed on two important issues: bring Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa home, give him a dignified, honorable tribute to his life, and thereafter dissect the outcomes of the final investigation report.
Plans for bringing Mthethwa's remains home are advancing, with expectations that the process will take less than a week following the post-mortem. The family has focused on logistics, meeting to finalize funeral arrangements while avoiding entanglement in rumors. Sfiso Buthelezi, sent to Paris to support the widow, has been instrumental in maintaining communication, ensuring the family stays informed. The government has committed to honoring Mthethwa appropriately, recognizing his struggles and achievements, including his leadership during tough periods for the ANC in his home province. As the investigation progresses, attention turns to potential evidence like the CCTV footage, which French authorities believe could reveal critical moments from Mthethwa's arrival at the hotel to the events on the 22nd floor. This footage, combined with phone records of the booking changes and any communications around the secret meeting, may clarify why he chose to postpone the two-day stay and what truly transpired that Monday. The items left behind, the cap he wore that day, the coat, and the remote control, now symbolize unanswered questions, perhaps overlooked in the room amid whatever unfolded. The South African team, under Major General Mekashalala, is set to spend a week in Paris, analyzing scenes, interviewing witnesses, and coordinating with French experts. Acting Minister of Police Professor Firoz Kachalia has stated that this deployment underscores a dedication to uncovering all facts, offering support to French counterparts and staying in touch with the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. Kachalia has also extended condolences, describing Mthethwa as a devoted public servant whose loss devastates many. In reflecting on Mthethwa's life, one sees a trajectory shaped by resilience. From his early days in Clearwater, where joining the ANC required courage amid local challenges, to his rise in national politics, he navigated complex landscapes. His tenure as police minister involved overseeing major reforms, though shadowed by the interference claims. As ambassador, he represented South Africa on the global stage, building bridges in cultural and economic exchanges with France. Yet, the timing of the Madlanga Commission testimony, just days before his death, invites consideration of how such pressures might accumulate, especially for someone in a high-stakes diplomatic role far from home. The two-day booking's postponement remains a puzzle, possibly linked to the secret meeting that vanished from any official record. Did it involve diplomatic matters, personal affairs, or something else entirely? The cap, coat, and remote control, mundane yet poignant, were the only items returned, leaving one to wonder what else might have been in that room. French authorities continue to emphasize transparency, briefing the family regularly and preparing to release the body once process is complete. The SAPS team's involvement ensures South African perspectives integrate into the probe, potentially accelerating answers. Meanwhile, tributes pour in, painting a picture of a multifaceted figure whose contributions endure despite recent controversies.
Thanks for watching.